Hello and welcome to the program. Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs Pavlo Klimkin recently announced closer relations with Hungary in a long-term political feud, but it doesn't seem to be quite the opinion of Hungarian Foreign Minister, who told NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg of significant worsening of the situation. Now, joining us in our studio today for more explanations on this topic is Vira Konstantynova. She's a political analyst and an expert on international energy relations. Hello and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So, on one hand, the Hungarian foreign minister said to confirm that there are already small positive steps, quote, in the relation between the two countries, but he also said to NATO chief that the situation is worsening. What to believe here?
To be honest, during the last few months, I guess we are witnessed some kind of diplomatic stresses between Ukraine and Hungary because of the situation with passports within the Ukrainian Carpathian. But at the same time, we should be honest, first of all, because this is not a new challenge for Ukrainian national security. And, for example, we have different news, different provocations, etc., that that aimed at degradation of our bilateral relations with Hungary. But at the same time, I think that we have good economic context, good political context, and as you have already told, during the, for example, Warsaw summit that held in Warsaw during the 23rd, 25th of October, it was a meeting between Minister Klimkin and Minister Szijjártó, and they tried to find a way how to deal with all these negative issues within the diplomatic relation between our states.
Now, let's listen what Hungarian Minister of Foreign Affairs Peter Szijjártó and Ukrainian Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin had to say about it.
Today I have handed over a draft agreement to Minister Klimkin, because I think we should sign up to a new agreement between the two countries about the protection of the minorities. How we can help our minorities more, how we can guarantee their rights more, and how we can look at our communities as sources of strength when it comes to the bilateral relationship instead of being sources of conflict.
There are issues on which we can, want, and will work together. For this, we will appoint a person in our ministry who will be responsible for cross-border cooperation. Later, they will meet and discuss what has to be done and how to do it.
So is this routine or is it a major step in Ukraine-Hungary relations here?
According to my personal point of view, I guess it's a very important step because, as you probably know, preliminarily we have different tensions, and even the post dedicated to the Ukrainian land within the position of special representative of Hungarian
Minister of Carpathian.
It was a real very bad signal. But at the same time, after these notes, I guess, remarks, we should understand that I hope so. We have found the solution. The new agreement is probably best variant for that.
Now, this whole feud also comes and was sparked by the whole language law.
Yes.
To go back to the origin of that, how do you explain that Hungary reacts as vividly as to this law as, you know, the Romanian community or the Polish community have, at least on an international level, less reaction than the Hungarian?
I think that the problem is not so focused on Ukrainian law, but I think the problem is on the perception of the situation, because we have different cultural, historical problems with our neighbors, but because of the common history, because of the common state frameworks, because of the common roots maybe of the problems, but at the same time Ukraine tries to find the best solution that would be suitable for both parties. With Poland, with Romania, we have different consultations and the normal situation with the minorities. But why is the Hungarian minorities was so vital for Ukraine? It was only because of maybe historical context, of course, but at the same time we should be honest on the context of interest of the Hungarian ministers, of the Hungarian Prime Minister, and interest in the context of national interest of Hungary. At the same time, Ukraine is, we estimate I guess, the challenges to national security, and at the same time we try to see strength between the cooperation on for example, trans-border issues with Hungary. Thus, I guess, nice dynamic we have seen, but
now
let's wait for that. Yeah,
it is a delicate balance because
yes.
Hungary is now heavily criticized by the EU, noticeably, and well, as well as Poland before on a different matter. How to keep bilateral cooperation for Ukraine, I mean, while still going through the path of the West, and you know, how to reconcile both interests, which is pro-European interest and bilateral.
You know, to find a balance, it's a real challenge for foreign policy. That's the main goal of foreign policy, to find the balance between national interests, national aspirations, and the context of, for example, European Union. At the same time, yes, there are some problems with reforms, or maybe some kind of, you know, not only this Hungarian case. Right now, we have heard the Italian case with the budget problems, with the budget scandals. But at the same time, dynamics within the European Union and the role that new European states, how, if we could call Hungarian partnership, recent during the not so for a long time ago during the EU, we should understand that Hungarian partners, they also have national interest within the European Union as the whole. I guess society, European society. But we have bilateral context, and I hope that bilateral context would strengthen both parties, Ukraine and Hungary as well.
Now, that's interesting that you raised this issue of national interest, because recently Prime Minister Orban in Hungary announced the creation of a new nuclear plant in Hungary, funded in a partnership with Russia. How to when you have that neighbor which is openly having a partnership with Russia while you're at war with Russia, how to balance that?
Let's be clear in this case. Regarding the nuclear power plant, that's not a new case, it's not a new project. If I'm not mistaken, nuclear power plant in Paksh, they have Russian technology, yes, of course, and they have the issue of nuclear fuel for these power plants. But at the same time, that's interesting case, because Ukraine having such a technology, Russian technology, Soviet technology within our nuclear power plants, we can also cooperate in the context of this particular issue. But at the same time, we should be realistic, I guess, because I'm not sure that the Russian Federation would permit this cooperation. But at the same time, for Hungary, they have the alternative for example, consultation, for different trainings, etc., in this particular specific case, like a nuclear field.
Now, and to conclude this interview, how do you see this relation unfold in regards of the election, the upcoming elections?
I'm so optimistic, because I think that we have enough understanding, maybe, and now enough wisdom to cooperate where we see mutual interest, and we have enough wisdom in the context of resolving our sensitive issues between our states. And I hope the realistic approach would be in this case.
Well, thank you for this overview. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio. That was Vira Konstantynova, political analyst and an expert on international energy relations. Thank you for watching the program, and stay tuned for the rest.